Good morning, everyone. Hello, Kevin, TGIF, NG, TGIF. Everyone doing okay? Okay, so it's Friday. Let's look at the S&P weekly. We're right near something I talked about earlier in the week. If we close under 3640, you have a 2-week reversal. We've been there. These off numbers, often you'll get reactions off of them. So far, the low has been 3629, so we've been underneath it. So there's the weekly on S&P, NASDAQ, same type of picture. To me, it looks like drive 2, everyone. So, I kind of agree with Steve. It could be a pullback, but maybe we get one more push up for a 3. Everyone see that? And then the metals are very interesting. Talked about it. Been negative, continue to be negative. Here's your gold, pretty negative week. What's even more interesting is you see this formation. It's almost like a little head and shoulders formation or a descending triangle could develop. Yesterday it came right off of 1850. Okay, so 1850 is kind of the bear's line in the sand for now. Similar situation in silver, right? We could still get another pop. In fact, these support levels almost makes it look like a descending triangle too. So you have a shorter term descending triangle, especially if we get one more pop, which can still happen, but you need a new low in the dollar index. Okay, so we still haven't taken out 91.20. And if we get one more shot down to 90, I think that's going to provide another shorting opportunity in both stock indexes and metals. Okay, and silver. So when you look at the shorter term picture, it looks like a descending triangle. And then you look at the bigger picture and it looks like a descending triangle. This one's even more classic. Negative week in silver, not as negative as gold, but still negative. Still was rejected from that triangle line. And that's really, the feature of the week has been weakness in stock indexes, weakness in precious metals, and weakness in cable, which to me, took out this little support line at 32. I don't know why we can't trade 130 or even lower. Not much of a bounce off this second attempt to hold it here. So that looks pretty negative to me. Hi, Monica, Hugo, Sinatra. And what's really is interesting is how long the euro is taking to generate a new high. It's the same as the dollar index generating a new low on a weekly basis. It's probably just sideways. What do we have? Yeah, just an inside week. Okay, so I love this. So the most bearish thing the euro could do next week is make a new recovery high over 122 and then take out early in the week. And there is a solar eclipse on Monday for those of you that, pay attention to astro things. So if we had, say we went to 2250 early next week, just made new highs, and then we start trading lower for the week, that might be the beginning of a correction that I still think I'm going to have a chance to buy the euro all the way down here. Okay, which may seem aggressive with where we are. Of course, we're going to have to get back under this support level under 1830 or so for that to happen. But I think long term, this is going to be the one of the better entries for 2021 for the year in euro down here. So I think there are two trades setting up: the counter trend short, and then the long term buy. Those are my calls. The next one's yours: 800-899 bear. Vermont teddy bear. And you can get your you can get your you can get your Biden bear
I
at
got that.
800.
I'm going to say that I got that, but what our North American audience is probably, I don't know,
Oh, yeah,
half of our viewers.
yeah.
The other half is obviously European, Asians, Australians, people from
They
countries.
don't
And
get Vermont teddy bears over there.
no, they don't. I
Too
got
bad.
it. I thought it was
Yeah.
funny, but I don't
You
know
don't
how
know
many.
how many calls I got, Blake. I mean, that
You
really
know,
was my phone number. For if I would have
okay.
had inventory, or I knew you then, I would have told your wife to, stock a few, and we could have made a few bucks.
So how's it
Anyway,
going?
TGIF, buddy.
I'm happy it's Friday as well. Sorry,
This,
you were talking about the euro,
yeah,
and I mean, I here's my only hang up to the
a
euro
correction.
is Brexit right now, and I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
you look at cable, and it's not looking well. I mean, it's if you're short, it's looking great, but if you're long, you're probably worried, and if you're
yeah,
you know, if you're long risk or you're short the dollar, you're probably looking at this cable going, man, what's going on
yeah,
here? And is this going to be a serious like Brexit meltdown?
yeah,
Because that could really kickstart some stuff. I was I made I had a tweet yesterday, and the market's just very short dollars, and everybody's long equities. And you pointed out that there's an inside day on the S&P, or inside week. I'm sorry, inside
uh,
week, right?
S&P reversal week, inside week in the euro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a negative week in Nasdaq and S&Ps. You had a reversal, not a
Uh,
key reversal, but for the week we're lower on both of them after making new highs.
let's do this. Okay, yeah. Here's the S&P. Just
Yeah,
well, it's not an outside week yet, but what I
yeah,
see here, it could be dark cloud cover,
okay,
because if you have a see how this candle here, let me just draw it out for you a little bit, and I'll keep that as red. So see how we made a new high in the
yeah,
red candle, but we haven't taken out the low, because if we actually were here, I'll draw it this way. This will
yeah.
be
It hasn't taken out the wick, but
no, no,
the cloud
not yet.
cover is because it takes out the body. Is that it?
Hold on, I'm just trying to get
Yeah,
a color here. Yeah. So if we got like, that's not what I wanted. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to. Oh, much better. Okay, so let me erase that. Let me go draw there. Okay, so if we got a red candle, and
yeah,
and we completely took out last week, that would
yeah,
be a bearish outside week, right?
yeah.
But that's not it yet.
Right.
So what could happen here, and what I think is probably more likely, just thinking about Brexit and what's happening here, let's just imagine that we have a move in the S&P where we get Brexit doesn't happen, or at least we get indication that it might not happen, right? So everybody gets a little freaked out. So now we get a red week next week. Then that could set up for maybe a little bit of a pullback in S&Ps. But I get skeptical about that, and I'm sure you do too. It's the end of year, and you got Santa Claus rally, you got the, like I pointed out in that tweet yesterday, the animal spirits, but
Yeah.
if a deal does get done, or it looks like that we're going to get done at the the very last hour regarding Brexit, then we could turn higher. We could
One
look
more
like we're
time.
selling off, and then just turn around and hit new highs by January 1st. So I'm a little skeptical about being too aggressively bearish, but here's what I'm hoping happens, Dale, is I'm hoping we see a little bit of a pullback in the Aussie dollar, to pull back towards like 74, the breakout point.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping happens. I think that move here in the Aussie back down to the, this breakout point would be great. I don't know if we're going to get it. I don't know.
It's been relentless. I never thought it would be up here.
It's so strong. It is so strong. But you look at, and here I'm gonna pull up this is iron ore, and I know I referenced this chart a couple of times, but whoops, that's not what I wanted. Here's a 6-month chart of iron ore. Crap, damn, I keep doing the wrong thing here. Okay, so there's a 6-month chart of iron ore. So you can see really the breakout started here in November, the end of November, right? And it's been a hell of a move. So, and this is kind of where the Aussie has just been following suit. So I don't think it's, odd that it's happening. I'm just, it's just now.
It's a nice correlation, Blake.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Aussie and iron ore is like their main, export. So you're going to see a pretty strong correlation there. And I would argue that probably one of the reasons why that the Aussie is hesitating is because they're, the China Australian relationship is a little rough at the moment, and so that might be some of the hesitation that you see in the Aussie. But shoot, man, there's a hell of a tailwind behind it. It's having a really difficult time, pulling back. You know what I mean? So yeah. So
well, it's certainly not correlating with gold. And if you had to pick another metal, it'd probably be copper, and it's underperforming copper. But yeah, I never looked at iron ore as a possible correlation because I never trade iron ore or anything. I don't even know, is that just an LME contract?
Yeah, I've never traded it either. I'm not 100% sure, Dale.
Yeah, okay.
And interestingly enough, I've never inquired about it. I've always done I'll just trade the Aussie, or that's how I've approached it. And so I don't know. But hey, real quick, and I was reading a comment from I'm sorry, somebody had responded to me regarding Amir. He said, I remember meeting him in Maryland Wise Trade Group back in the day. Such a gent and so generous with the support of other traders. And what an incredible mind for Forex. I was not alone in being in awe of his ability. And this is regarding Amir. And that would have been 15 years ago. And that was a response to you and I, Dale, to the tweet.
Yeah.
So,
that was before his troubles.
What's that?
That was before his troubles, right?
Yeah, and so
15 years ago.
We're gonna save that story for Amir to tell in his own words. But I will, because I kind of did him a disservice, I think, by letting a little too much out of the bag the other day. But let me just start by saying this: Amir is going to be joining us today. Very excited for him to be here, and I want to reiterate that this man that you guys will hear in about 45 minutes time, and I'll try to, I'm going to get started right now so we can get through all this analysis, and let Steve and Stelia say their piece. I just want to say that you guys are in for a real treat. He's an amazing human being, an amazing presence in our chat room, and it's been so nice to see him recover and come back over the last couple of years. So you understand what I mean by me saying that after you hear his story. So Dale, without any further interruptions, I guess we'll just get through this analysis. Okay. But let me know if there's anything that you see here that I'm pointing out that that I might have missed as we go along. So the euro dollar. So this is my chart of the day yesterday, and what I was hoping for a breakout higher, and Dale said I'm hoping for a move to 122 marginal new high, then a low. What I'm just hoping for is that we stay above this 120. Well, actually, just 120 really. But if we get a dip back to the 120, these lows from yesterday, the 120.65, I think that's going to be pretty good support. If that breaks, we should see 120 again. I'm not anticipating that. I'm just saying that I'm really looking forward, looking to see if we can hold the ECB low yesterday. I do think we will. And I'd be a fan of actually trying to buy a dip down there if we can get it. Resistance right now is going to be 121.70, 121.80. Okay. Okay, and we are still bullish, obviously. Cable, I mean, we're under some serious pressure today, and we're approaching the 618 retracement. Earlier this week, I had said I wouldn't mind buying the pound at 131 in hopes of a deal, but based on the information that we have right now, I don't know if a deal is super likely, so I'm not sure I'm super comfortable with doing that. I was hoping that, if I got, I had an order earlier this week at 131.10 for the 618 right here. I was actually looking to buy that. I had canceled that order. That was like, earlier this week. But I was thinking, okay, well, if it spikes down there and it gets me in, I'll get long. I don't know how comfortable I am, but that was, earlier this week before we had some of the, news that we have right now. So I think 131.10 is pretty important support. I think below that we see 130, which is the 78% retracement. Right now, any rally back to 132.50 is probably going to find sellers. So
Except for NFP days, Blake, Fridays are usually not the best day to fade action, looking for reversals. It's kind of like it's the final vote with people's pocketbooks on the week. And then, you'll get some follow through the following week. You've seen it a million times. And I think you'll have a chance to assess whether or not you like it. It's also, don't you feel this way? It's not just the price; it's how it gets to the price that makes a difference.
Yeah, that's like that's exactly it. That's why when I put in orders overnight, like for example, I'll just give you an example, and then we'll continue on. Let's say in the Aussie, let's say I had and I didn't do this, but let's say I put in an order overnight for a bid at 74.50, and we got a spike down there, and then it bounced back, and it hit my order, and then it bounced back to like 74.70 by the time I got up. So I got up and I'm already up 20 pips, and I got hit on some spike down. Well, then I would say, okay, why did I get hit? Oh, I got hit because there was some headline that seemed like it was a negative Brexit headline, and they hit the Aussie on it and it bounced back. But after reading the headline, it's like, yeah, that might be some just some
Noise.
Yeah, and then I'll say, okay, I'll keep it, right? Because it spiked down there and it hit me. But if it spiked down there and and it's down there, I get up in the morning and I'm like, oh, what happened? Oh, XYZ defaulted on some debt. I'd be like, okay, I don't want to be in it. So I have to understand why it got there, how it got there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Interesting that you evaluated based upon the fundamental or the news that took it there.
I try to,
Okay.
because I think that that's going to be important. So here, Dale, this is your possible throw over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to move this down just a bit, So I think that, pretty important support is going to be at 75 cents. And if we get below 75 cents, that's going to open up some downside. But, today, 75 cents is support, and it is damn bullish.
Yeah,
it just is. Iron ore started pulling back last night, and I wrote in our chat rooms. I was like, hey, be careful if you're along the Aussie, because it'll probably start pulling back here, based on the iron ore and copper, giving up some gains, and it did. It rolled over, not aggressively, but it pulled back. But we might be setting up a little head and shoulder pattern here. In the Aussie, it'd be small. Anyway, I think resistance is at 75.75, and I don't think there's any reason to be bearish right now. But I think if you're long, you got to be a little careful, especially because we're starting to see some reversals elsewhere. So let's take a look at the Kiwi. Kiwi is an example, but here, let me just go and I'll show you guys. This is our chat room. If you guys want to know where we're at all day, this is the Forex Analytics chat room. Let me just show you how much chatting has gone on since I got up. I got up around here. This is 4:11 a.m. Okay, this is how much chatting that was 2 hours ago. This is how much chatting's gone on since then. Okay, so now I'm going to take you backwards. I'm going to go back to last night. Let's see. So this is last night at before I went to bed. Okay, I said, hey guys, a little heads up. Copper is reversed, so is iron ore. So Aussie and New Zealand may dip in European trade. Okay, there's the iron ore chart. I did tweet the chart too. You guys, if you aren't following me on Twitter, you got that chart. So the Kiwi was up here and it dipped, and so did the Aussie. And so, but the problem with the Kiwi is we set up a false breakout possibly. So I'm going to put 71.10 as being pretty key resistance, and you guys know that support is 70 cents. So this is obviously very important support. I don't know if I'd run out and short them, but I would be careful with them if you're long. I mean, I'm more in the camp of I'd rather buy the Aussie at 74.50. I'd rather buy the Kiwi at 70 cents than try to buy it here. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd rather just buy those dips rather than, be long at current levels. But that's not to say that it won't go higher. I mean, they're obviously in very bullish, trends right now. Dollar Canadian. So the dollar Canadian hit the butterfly reversal, and the dollar Canadian's been holding up well. Now, here's what I would be thinking. If we got back above these highs today, which is 127.80, then 127.85 actually, then the next resistance would be the key 128.40, right? We're still bearish, but as I said yesterday, there's the risk is starting to build for a reversal here. So we hit the 161% extension and held. So now dips back to 127.07. Oh, I had an order down there. Did I cancel it? Shoot. I just realized I canceled the order that was down there. Oh, that's a bummer. Anyway, overnight I was wondering why. I'm like, man, I should be long a little bit more dollar Canadian, and I'm not, and that's the reason why, because I canceled that order. Damn it. Anyway, 127 is going to be key support here. I am looking for a counter trend move, and I think that we could probably get back to we can probably get back towards here, 129, 129 and a quarter. We could, if we start to see, stocks pull back. One of the big things out there that you should be looking at is the dollar Mexican peso.
That was a great call, Blake. There's a lows for you.
Thank you. I am bullish and I am long. So let me just show you a couple things. First of all,
NGFX probably capitalized on it too. So he said, Blake, great shout out on USD MEX.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Well, look at the RSI broke out yesterday.
Yeah.
That was yesterday when we were down at 2. We're at 20. We're at 2015 right now. That was a breakout. Look at the dollar ZAR.
That's you, Czar.
Huh?
You're Pip Czar.
Actually, I bet you Amir he might actually remember that day when
They
I
gave you your handle.
gave me my nickname. Yeah, he might have been, because that was the time when he used to be on Wise Trade TV, when we had the TV thing. But anyway, so I'm going to say that support for the dollar mex is back at 20. If we can get a dip back down there, 2020, a break above 2020 in the dollar mex, right here, 2025 actually, right there.
I bet, yeah, you probably have a real nice weekly candle on that one.
It might be setting up. And so,
Yeah.
and these are the types of things that make me a little skeptical about being long risk too, when you see the emerging
Yeah.
market currencies get hit. So I'm going to tell you guys, near term, I'm bullish the dollar mex, but I'm going to put us in range, because what I really think is happening here, I don't think you should be outright bullish. That's why my position's just not very big. But I believe we're more in a range now, right? So I think we're going to rally, stop at 2050, 2060, somewhere up here. And then, then you're probably going to set up for a great short. And, just as much as I want to buy the Aussie dollar at 74.50, I actually want to short the dollar Mexican peso at 2080. So what I'm saying is that what I want to do is short it up here, right? But yeah, Dale said, look at the weekly candle. Weekly candles. That is not a bullish engulfing, but that's a piercing line reversal week, which is, it's a big one. So just a heads up. Let's see. We got a lot of work to do. Okay. Dollar Swiss. Here's another descending wedge breaking out. So resistance now is at 89.15, support 88.52. I still think it's bearish, guys. I do think it's bearish, but but realize we're making a counter trend move right now, right? But while we're below this 89.80, it's hard to be bullish. US dollar, Norwegian krona has had a nice recovery. I think we can make it back up towards 892 to 896. But resistance today should be 892. Then we have 896, just in case things get a little crazy. We have to still be bearish this too. Just remember, when you see all this bullish and bearish denominations today, right now you're seeing counter trend moves, but nothing's changed the bullish trend of the Aussie. Nothing's changed the bullish trend of the Kiwi, if that makes sense. You just because something is designated as bullish doesn't mean that it's going to go up every second of every day. I would be surprised if the Kiwi doesn't pull back to like 70.50 today. Maybe gets all the way down to 70 cents if things get a little crazy. But I think these are just really key supports that solidify the uptrends in the move in the Kiwi. And same with like the Aussie, right?
Okay. Blake, we have 30 seconds to PPI.
Oh, PPI, thank you very much, yes, Stelios. I forgot. I don't even want to look at the dollar yen's so not moving. So I don't even want to look at it. Here, let's pull up this is our data flash. This is included with Forex Analytics. And here's Bloomberg. So you can see how quick it is to Bloomberg, which is a $2,800 product. Oh shoot, where am I? PPI right there. Wow. Data flash came out quicker than Bloomberg. Did you see that?
Yeah. Marginally
and
worse.
It's a miss.
Yeah, it's a slight miss. Actually, forget it.
Wow. How is it that central banks cannot engineer inflation at all?
They don't want to.
Or inflation on their, by their measurements. queuing up Steve's response. Hold on. No? Huh. Okay. Anyway. All right, Stelios, we'll get more of your response here in a second. So let me finish this up. Dollar yen. As you guys know, dollar yen is stuck between 104.74 and 103.65 still. By the way, if you're new to this webinar, you guys know that this is something we do every single morning. So it's something I've done for many, many years with our viewers. And then I stopped for a couple years because I was letting Paul Franco take over. And Paul does it during his European crossover, which is exclusive to Forex Analytics subscribers. But he does his own version of the bias chart. And I suggest you guys all do the bias chart yourself, because it's a good exercise on finding all the key support and resistance levels. So here's the dollar index, and the dollar index was breaking down. And now the problem that I see here with the dollar index is that the flag didn't play out. So now we have more of a consolidation, which should still play lower. But, the risk is if we start breaking higher here, then, we're going to test this previous support, which is 91.80. You guys know, ultimately that's big resistance. As long as we're below 91.80, I don't think there's any reason to be structurally bearish or bullish. Shoot, I thought I wrote that out. I did. Okay. I don't think there's any reason to be structurally bullish the dollar while we're below 91.80. So that is resistance, and we should stay, bearish the dollar while below it. That doesn't mean we can't get a recovery to it. I'm just saying that it's bearish while we're down there. Support for the dollar is at 90.60 right now. Okay. I was finishing up the US dollar Norwegian krona. I'm sorry, I left you hanging there. Let's go back to the US dollar Norwegian krona. I didn't even finish that. Stocks are higher as inflation is lower, because they probably feel that central banks are going to continue to add liquidity just to engineer inflation that we'll never see, right? Is that their excuse, Stelios? Look,
I don't know anymore.
Down. Let's go ahead and let's put more liquidity out there, right? That's their excuse for just printing. 874, and then obviously 870, but I'll just write down for today, 874. Okay. S&P. So this is the trend line that we talked about the last few days. We hit that trend line to a T. If 2 hours ago, SPX testing support, US dollar advances, that was exactly 2 hours ago. We hit that support at.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a 15-point S&P bounce. I don't know if it's going to hold today, but that's support. We've been talking about it. So 36, I guess 36.25 today. And that'll be important because that trend line needs to hold. Resistance now will be probably back up here at 36.80. Gold. Gold is a little weaker, or what? Oh, I guess it's reversed. I didn't even look at it till just now. So, since after the PPI numbers, it was a little weaker, but wow, look at that. That looks like what does that look like to you, Dale?
Head and shoulders.
Yeah, little head and shoulder pattern. I don't, it's like in the middle of the, what I think is like kind of a sideways trend right now, but still, it could be, intraday type of deal, which, you extrapolate that out a little bit, we might move sideways for the next couple of days. But what that does tell us is that this is support here. This is the neckline. So that's, oops. It's 1820, all right? 1820, 1850 will be resistance, and you guys can have fun with that.
Nice look.
All right. So there's your bias chart. It's finished. Stelios is here. I don't know if Steve's here, but I know Stelios is here. So Stelios, you said something about, they just don't, inflation's down and no one cares. So what do you mean?
Well, first of all, I mean that economic data really doesn't matter anymore, at least for the short term. And you said, what do the central banks have to do to get inflation higher? And the answer is they probably don't want to, because we said this yesterday. They have so many liabilities linked to inflation that and also with inflation low, it means they can borrow. The government can borrow cheaply. I wrote today in the chat room, if you want to see the most bizarre headline you'll ever see in terms of economics, it's 10-year Spanish bonds yielding negative and 10-year Greece at 0.5%. I mean, that's ridiculous.
A great deal.
It's ridiculous.
I can buy broke countries' debt and then pay money to buy their debt.
Yeah, what a privilege.
Great, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a privilege.
Amazing.
Steve likes that trade. That's got Steve going.
And you know what? Forget about Spain
out here. So why you guys explain to me that phenomenon, please?
This, in my opinion, who actually buys 10-year bonds at negative rates, especially Spain? I think people or institutions who have to buy them. That's the thing. You have to have a part of your portfolio in XYZ, pension funds or whatever. I still remember when I was trading sterling interest rates. I remember the gilt traders who were sitting very close to me, who were saying there's always this hump in the yield curve in the back end because pension funds have to own long-term gilts and they have to own a certain amount of them. And you've got this weird hump in the curve and nothing you can do about it. So I think negative yields you buy only if you have to, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, you buy if you think they're going higher in terms of price. So more negative, yes. In the short term, you buy because you take a view like that. But fundamentally, why would you do that? I don't see any reason.
First of all, we've talked about that before. This is the definition of a bubble or a pyramid scheme or whatever you want to call it, because oppositely from stocks that theoretically speaking have an unlimited upside potential, of course, only theoretically, right? That's not the case with bonds. When you buy a bond that's negative yielding, there is one thing that's 100% sure, is that during the life of this bond, the net amount of money that will be made or lost from the holders is going to be negative. So bottom line, net money are going to be lost there. So why are people buying this? Either because they have to, as Stelios said, or which happens in most cases, or because you think there's going to be a bigger sucker to buy it off your hands at a higher price. Yeah. Because if you're buying to hold it to maturity, which used to be quite frequent when yields were normal, you're going to lose money. There is no way around it. So, but what people don't realize is that we have, for years now, we have a bond bubble and a stock market bubble because one requires the other. Since bonds and the return are comparable to stocks and the return, because in essence they're alternative investments, you cannot sustain a stock market bubble if you don't have a bond market bubble. If bonds are not extremely expensive, you have no way of getting extremely expensive stocks. So at some point, when it happens, and we know from history that there is not if, there is when, those two bubbles are going to burst at the same time because they're intertwined.
Interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I say we burst the bubble today. I want to get things going.
Well, different from 1987, Steve, and we didn't have central banks, central planning like we do now. It took quite some time for the dollar declining and yields to rise to get the 1987 crash. There was disintermediation for quite some time. I agree with you. It wouldn't take a lot of time in a rising yield environment to dent valuations.
We saw that in 2018, right? Yields were
Yes.
the primary cause why stocks started falling. And I think what's different now from now to 1987, all that, is that things tend to happen a lot faster nowadays in both directions. It's become, you get things that you would see once every 10 years, you get them now every year. So it's a little bit faster. It's a little bit more scary now.
It's because we're flying at a much higher altitude, Stelio. If you're flying at 60,000 feet above the ground, the dynamics are extremely fragile. I mean, in order for you to stall at 60,000 feet, you need a very, very small mistake or a very small decrease in speed. So now that we're flying, near the stratosphere, that's what the case is. I mean, any slight deviation from, the path is disastrous.
What's a Greek mythology of which god flew to the sun?
Icarus.
All right, you guys know. All right.
Hey, guys,
I think we have an Icarus.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna let you guys take over, but before I do, just remember our webinar sponsors, Pepperstone Securities. If you want to learn how to get Forex analytics for free for a period of time, open an account with Pepperstone, a live trading account. You have to use this link here. Then you can get up to 4 months free of Forex analytics. So check them out, see what they have to offer. I'm going to be back in just about 15 minutes for the Amir webinar and interview. So you guys stick around because, like I said, probably the most inspiring story you're going to hear of this year. So, nice. I don't know. There's been a lot. I'm going to tell you,
this is a strange year.
This is one of those years where you probably heard a few pretty inspiring stories because it's nice to pass them around, especially in such a tough year for everybody. So anyway,
in a little bit, bro.
Yeah, I'll see you in a little bit, guys.
Thank you,
and thank you.
By the way, a friend Monica says we have many risky Argentine bonds we think nobody will want, but buyers always appear. That's the problem with having zero yields. The search for yield, you go for anything that you can, which is so risky. Like personally, I've been trading my family's funds for years. Last 3 years, I own zero in bonds, zero. And it used to be a good chunk of our portfolio.
The Argentina story is just unbelievable. How many times has Argentina defaulted during the past 20 years? Like something like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9. I mean,
that for me is a definition of a gamble. It's like Russian roulette. You're clicking the thing, and you say it's not going to go on my head. It's going to be on the next one. Anyway.
I've lost count, and the funniest part is that before the previous default, weren't they issuing something like 50, 10, 100-year bonds, something unbelievable, which of course within a few months went from trading to 100 cents on the dollar as it was issued, more or less, to 30 cents on the dollar. Yeah. Who would have guessed, right?
Practice makes perfect.
That's just pure speculation. Pure speculation if you're buying those, in my opinion. You might buy them and make a huge load of money, but man, it's too dangerous. Anyway, that's the problem with having zero yields in proper credit worthiness, in countries, because then you get junk bonds at 3% and 4%, and that's just nuts.
And that used to be low. That is lower yields than safe haven yields used to be, like a couple of decades ago, right?
Oh
yes. Okay. So the news today obviously is again the pound, and Boris Johnson said that at this point in time where we stand, it's how did he say it exactly? It's looking very, very likely that we're going to have a no deal. So the market's quite scared at the moment. Frankly, I know some people who disagree. They're still playing chicken. They're going to play chicken until the last minute. So what's changed for the past 2 or 3 or 4 weeks? Nothing. It's just we're getting closer to the end, and they're both sides are still stuck on 2 points. So they're still playing chicken. So I personally, I've started very, very slowly. I sold the euro sterling, euro pound at 92. That was my level. I did a very small position just to keep a tracker on it. And I want to keep selling as we go up to 94.7 if we get there. But just something I'm looking at, and I've been waiting.
I have no
for it.
expertise in kitchen and hence chickens, Stelio. but what I can tell you is that we're getting closer and closer to the bottom of this channel that we've been talking about for quite some time. This is a 4-hour chart, by the way,
Yes.
and we can also see it on the daily. There it is.
I'm not touching cable, by the way. I'm only shorting.
Yeah,
Cable, I think, is going lower.
Yeah, and if it breaks through here, doesn't look good.
Yeah, and this whole recovery has not been impulsive at all.
Yes. And extra element that was added to the mix a few days ago was that it was last Friday, if I remember right, that false break above like the previous high in 135 intraday.
Took everyone out. Every short was gone.
Yeah, and now we're on the precipice of a quite big breakdown, which in my opinion inevitably will bring 126.75, this low there in focus pretty fast. So, you want to buy the pound from a technical perspective, I'm talking now, because as I've said before, making assumptions on what politicians are going to agree sitting around the table, is something that I don't recommend anybody trying to do. But from a technical perspective, and so far the technicals have worked perfectly here, irrespective of all the political risk. You want to buy it. This is a nice area from a risk-reward perspective if we hold the channel and propel higher. But my gut feeling tells me that there is a big chance we're going to slice through this channel, or even worse, we're gonna gap lower.
I think 125, because I think the dollar will squeeze a little bit.
We're gonna
dollar squeeze.
Yeah, there is a chance that we're gonna get some news during the weekend and gap on Monday, right?
Yes.
So technically speaking, a gap lower below the channel on Monday is going to be a very, very, very bearish technical development.
I agree.
Are you a technical analyst? Listen, guys, I forgot. I usually do this on Thursday. I forgot yesterday. But if FACE has helped you for free and you want a deal on a semi-annual or annual membership, just go to our website and you'll see someone that's going to be able to help you there. And they'll offer you a decent discount on that. Fridays are very good days to get used to navigating and do all your research. So I just wanted to put that out there and, look at it as a Christmas gift or Happy Hanukkah to everyone, a Hanukkah gift for your trading career. You give
and
yourself
as we've said many times, FACE is great, but it's 1 hour of the day, right? It's 1 hour of the day. And of course, it doesn't include, all the rest of the services.
Yeah.
Forex Analytics offers.
Anyway, so someone in customer service will help you. Yeah.
Okay. So having discussed the elephant in the room, which is the pound, and I said that yesterday, look at the pound yen. Same type of formation in the short term. Somebody could also claim that this was an interesting divergence. I mean that while the pound versus the dollar was producing a higher high, even incrementally, the pound yen was definitely far away from that. So as you see, pound USD and pound yen will break higher or rebound from this channel support at the same time. That's also quite interesting. They've come in alignment. Now, at the same time, and let's visit some of the crosses, this was not a big surprise here. We had a look, I don't remember how many days ago, the pound Aussie. I said that this formation looked another probably bearish consolidation. Look at this, poop, slicing through, and currently testing the waters below that low, which that low was exactly 2-year low. So we're testing the waters at 2-year lows. You know, you can't really interpret this as a bullish development. Even worse, just a reminder, because we've talked about that again, look at the pound Kiwi. Pound Kiwi was trading in this clearly corrective channel since the summer of 2016, right? So that was a 4.5-year old channel that was holding until we broke lower, retested, and now we seem to be accelerating to the downside. So, and we're currently trading also at, no, this actually is like 1.5-year-old lows. So I have to tell you that, you know, pound Aussie, pound Kiwi, they look like they're gone. And, you know, I wouldn't try to, you know, to catch a falling knife here. And it seems like Euro Aussie, here it is breaking through this prolonged consolidation. You know, it somewhat a little bit at a different scale resembles the pound Kiwi situation, right? And here is Euro Kiwi. It's funny because Euro Kiwi looks a little bit more than like the pound Aussie, and Euro Aussie a little bit like the pound Kiwi. But in any case, you get the point. Let me also extend this trend line, by the way. There you go. So you have also this very interesting long-term trend line there. So, you know, everything looks like, and I've said it before, it doesn't surprise me, right? I expect commodities to do very well. That should help commodity currencies overperform. And I do believe that these crosses over time will suffer a lot more losses, right? Because I expect these type of pairs, the NOK, the CAD, the Aussie, the Kiwi, and, you know, more or less the vast majority of exotics to overperform. Okay, what?
We'll take a look at VIX for Dale.
Sure, absolutely. VIX. Here's VIX. Nice rebound. Nice rebound. Testing first area of resistance here at roughly 25. We crossed through 25. We opened the door for a move towards 30 quite immediately. So yeah, clearly, you know, finally the divergences in the VIX are playing out. Let's see if we can get a breakthrough 25. That should actually help extend and accelerate. Needless to say, we've been seeing you know, this pullback, which so far is rather orderly, right? In the indices, here is the S&P, here's the Nasdaq, here's the IWM holding better than anything else, as it has been overperforming for quite some time now, right? We've talked about that. Here is the DAX. I mentioned the DAX just before I actually stopped. Yeah, just before I stopped talking yesterday, and I actually think I mentioned it on the 4-hour chart, and I said that be careful here because it's trying to break through. This is the chart I showed that it's trying to break through this ascending wedge, and that would be a nice bearish development that would open the door for at least a retracement towards like the bottom of this wedge. So yeah, it looks like we are in a little bit of a risk-off mode now. You know, for the time being, it's nothing really to write home about, right? Doesn't mean that it can't escalate and it can last for a few days, you know, even a couple of weeks. But as I've said, consider this a counter trend trade until proven otherwise, because that's what the trend tells us, and that's what we have to follow. So you want to be short. I mentioned it yesterday and the day before. The risk reward is in your favor if you're trading against the highs. But just the risk reward, it's not the trends. The risk reward favors attempts to fade, this move higher for at least some type of pullback, which is healthy. Now, how much of conversation we can have about healthy moves in a totally unhealthy market having to do with its fundamentals and the way it moves. It's a totally different story. Hi, Blake. Do you suggest to do the bias chart 1 or 2 times a day? I don't think Blake is in at the moment. He's going to be back, but I can tell you as a fact that there is no mistake you can do by doing it more than once per day. But I can also tell you as a fact that in the vast majority of the cases, that's not going to be needed unless it's a very volatile day, right? If the day doesn't really have very much volatility, you don't really need to do it more than once per day. Now, if the day proves to be very volatile and early on you get up breaking, through your levels, yeah, there's no harm you can do by rerunning a bias chart during the day, right, to establish new levels.
Let me coach you. Start with once a day and do that for a while. Because
Yeah, something. What Dale indirectly wants to say here is that consistency is a lot more important in this case than frequency, right, Dale?
Yes, buddy. Because a lot of people don't even take the time to do that. In fact, you want to do it. Look at Blake's, but do your own too. It'll be a good discipline for you. And when you do something yourself and write things down yourself, it has more impact. It's neuro, whatever it is, but it'd be a good exercise for you to do once a day.
Many of these procedures that curiously you very frequently see extremely successful traders do them, and you wonder, like, why does he have to grab a piece of paper or a computer Excel file and just write things down? I mean, out of experience, can't he just spot these areas or levels or zones immediately just by looking at the chart? The answer is yes, he can. But once you write things down, in essence, you commit to them, right? So you decrease the chances that you're going to emotionally take a position that you shouldn't be taking, probably. So that's the biggest importance of that for experienced traders. Now, for amateurs, it's helpful for all types of reasons. For professionals, mostly because it forces you to be more disciplined. And yes, journaling, as our friend NGFX says here, does indeed help for these exact reasons. Now, there is a question. Let me go through some of your questions before Blake interviews Amir. There's a question about USD yen. So USD yen, I wish I had something to say, but the only thing I can say is that it's still coiling, right? You can see it here. You know very well, those of you that are frequent listeners, that I haven't traded this for a very long time, and I haven't regretted it a single day. And you can see why, right? So, I don't want to do anything with it. Yeah, I do monitor it intraday a couple of times, but I see no reason why I should be trading something that's literally untradeable at the moment. So my advice for you is trade something else. if you can help it, just trade something else, right? Now a quick look at some of the commodities, metals, etc.
Hey, Steve, we got about a minute before we bring on Amir, so I just wanted to give you a heads up.
Absolutely, mate. So gold, nothing really new today, right? So everything we said yesterday still applies. Silver, as you say, second in decision day so far. Yesterday and today so far in decision days. Platinum, same deal. Palladium still consolidating. Copper, working on a negative day today, but yesterday's day was very positive, so I would be very, very careful here. Let's see how we close the day and the week to begin with before we can start calling reversals again. And cryptocurrencies remain a little bit under pressure, but as I've said before, within the context of like a corrective move, there's still some room they can move within without really, producing any technical breakdowns, right? So nothing has changed here either. Anyhow, Blake.
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Good, mate. It's all yours.
Okay. Hold on really quick. Okay. Hold on really quick. How are you doing? And happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Getting ready to, at some point today, start putting on a Christmas tree.
Oh, hey, congratulations. That's good. I actually put mine up like 2 weeks ago because I said, you know what? It's 2020. I was going to put it up. I was literally going to put it up before then. But my wife's like, no, just, I'm like, but we have a little nephew that he was so excited to see all the lights.
Yeah, as you understand, we also have somebody here being very excited and waiting for it.
Right. Of course. So I want to say, thank you all for being here. We're going to bring on a guest, and I'm not going to take too much away from his story because I'd like, in his own words, to tell you a story. And let me first of all see if he is. If I'm going to unmute Amir, and let me get to. Where is the, oh, here it is. I'm sorry, I'm like looking at for everything. Where's the participants?
Hello.
Amir.
Yes.
Hey,
buddy.
I was gonna unmute you. How's it going, man?
Hey, I did it myself.
Oh,
good,
man.
good.
You know what? You sound awesome. You sound awesome.
Oh, you should wait till I start singing.
Yeah. Well, hey, okay, before we get started, and we have Dale here, and I'm sure Steve and Stelios are here too. You guys can hear Amir's voice, especially those of you guys that are in the chat room. And I'm going to be reading comments too as they come in. But let me say this, Amir, you're a real special person to me. Obviously we've known each other for years. How many years ago do you think it was when we first met? Do you know? Do you remember?
Yeah, 2005 or 6.
2005 or 2006. So we are talking 15 years.
Yeah.
And I met Amir in person in Baltimore a couple of times. I remember you traveled to New York. You came to Dallas with was it Dallas? Yeah. With April. You brought April along. I got to meet your wife. We have a lot of history. And the one thing that I'll tell you about Amir, and then I'm going to let him kind of tell you what had happened, is Amir had been in our chat room. We at my old company that I worked for, the Wise Trade Group, we built a chat room probably about, I don't know, 15 years ago. No, probably around 11 or 12 years ago. And but Amir, prior to that, we used to have a TV station. He'd been on Wise Trade TV, been broadcasted. I remember seeing you in your room, Amir, with your workout elliptical machine behind you.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember vividly that image. And you'd be sitting there telling us like what currencies you're thinking about trading. Anyway, once we had a chat room, Amir had always been in our chat room and been probably one of the most helpful people you'd ever meet. Like, and he never asked for anything. He'd just be like, people would be like, Amir, why are you buying the euro right now? He's like, well, I thought it was, great support here and look, pretty bullish and, and then I'm only going to risk down to here. And it's like, man, this guy, it was just a friend to everyone in the chat room and always willing to help and never asked for anything. And then something happened where he disappeared after like a year and a half. And I got kind of worried, and I knew Amir in person. I actually had his phone number. We would text every once in a while, and I text you, and he told me a story, and then the rest is history. I'm going to let Amir tell you what happened in his own words, and then I'll pull up the story as he's talking. But Amir, I'm so happy to have you here because we have so much history, and I'm going to shut up now. I want you to. I'd love to hear maybe you can kind of briefly tell everybody what had happened to you, but also explain your journey as a trader, because what had happened in recent years, over the last 4 years or so, is you've slowly gotten back into trading, and now I can tell just by your posts and what you do and what you're doing intraday. I can see how you've really come storming back. And but if people know your story, they'll be more impressed than ever. So I'm going to shut up and say, so good to hear your voice.
Thanks, buddy. So as you mentioned, we were together since 2005, and then everything was fine. And then in 2011, it was in March of 2011 that we had a home invasion, and I walked into the home, people at our house, and I was stabbed in my abdomen. So I was left.
And if I remember the story correctly, April was out of town with
Yes.
Isabella. She took her to New York, and you, I think, were playing cards with some of your friends, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I was out.
Or
I
you
went,
tell her that you were playing cards.
Yes, I did. So I was out. I went had dinner, and there was a casino in West Virginia. I said, okay, I'm gonna go and play some blackjack. That was my favorite things to do. But then once I got there, I wasn't feeling well, so I came back home, and it was in the middle of I don't remember, probably around 11 o'clock at night. So I walked into a couple of guys in my house, packing up our stuff, and that's when I was stabbed, and I was left to die there till morning, and I was able to call 911, and I was picked up by a helicopter. And then April was out of town with Isabella. They rushed back there, and it went for a while. I had some complication a few months later, and it was on October of 2011, because of the complication that I had with my stab wound. I was going to have another surgery done in Baltimore. So the night before my surgery, I went to, I don't remember what I was dropping, and some blood sample. And then once it was done, I called April that I said, okay, I've dropped it off. I'm coming home. And she was making me tuna noodle casserole, if I remember correctly. I said, "This food is ready. Come on." So, and walking to the underground parking lot at the University of Maryland Hospital, and I was held by gunpoint again, and I was robbed, and then the person shot me in the back 3 times.
Now, can I stop you really quick, Amir? Let's just I'm trying to. I want you guys to really think about this. Amir, he lived in a nice neighborhood in Baltimore, nice, suburban neighborhood. He walked into a home invasion when in his own home. He was stabbed multiple times, left for dead. Then the 6 months later, or he had some complications, so he went back to the hospital. And this is a completely separate incident where he's in the garage, and you were shot multiple times in the back.
Yeah, exactly. the home invasion was a couple of good old boys was robbing my house, and then in Baltimore, uh, uh, it was probably a person who was addicted and was looking for drugs, um, like pills and narcotic. I
Yeah.
thought I had some, and they were two separate, not related at all. But anyway, I went. We went through a lot, and um, I lost. I lost. I lost the feeling on my um, right leg and my back, part of my back. Um, then after a while, because I had a bullet stuck into my vertebrae, they had to remove it. So I had another surgery, and then I was dealing with seizure, um, um, speech impediment, stuttering a lot to the point that no one could understand me. But I mean,
Amir, do
it
you
was
mind
a
if I show a picture of what you look like in the well, I don't have one now, but of you when you were first in the wheelchair. But can I show you one of kind of midway through, I guess?
yeah,
Okay.
of course.
This is Amir. What how long, this is you and Isabella, his daughter. And
Yes,
how long was that? That must have been maybe 2013, 2014 in your wheelchair.
I think so. I think so. You know, uh, my, I lost a lot of memory, good and bad,
Yeah.
those days. But damn, I was fat there. Look at me. I think I was, yeah, I was
Well,
like 200
just so
and,
everybody knows, this is still in his wheelchair. You can see
yeah,
the wheelchair. This is several years later. This is 2017, 2018, maybe.
yeah.
In
That's
April.
when we moved. When we moved to St. Simon's Island in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, that's my beautiful wife. Yeah, I was 275 pounds. Uh, and we went through a lot. I mean, with the help of my wife, without
Yeah.
her, nothing would have been possible. With the help of you guys, I remember you're part of my family, and I was struggling at points, and you guys were kind enough to put an account together, help us and Isabella for Christmas. I mean, uh, uh, it was a huge family effort that we did. So if you honestly, if you're part of our group, you know how close we are together, and how you know how much we care about each other, from um, business trading um, aspect, and and life. We do really care about each other. But
You
anyway,
know, I think one of the things
yeah,
that I'm so just so you guys know, Amir, after this all happened, and we as in our group, we kept up with Amir's story. Like literally every day, every 2 days, I would report back to our community, like, hey, you know, I heard from Amir, he's doing well, or, you know, like once a week, I would say, probably realistic. You know, and he's doing well. I talked to him today, or I got, you know, I talked to April, his wife. You know, she would text me and kind of give me updates about how Amir is doing every once in a while, and we bring him on. And I remember the first time we brought you on, Amir, probably was about that 2013, 2012, maybe about a year after the original incident. And your stuttering was so bad, we couldn't, it was hard to decipher exactly what you were saying for the first year, I think.
yeah. The only person who would really understand me was April. Uh, um, uh, I mean, we've been married for this coming March will be 30 years. So
Congratulations. That's
she
amazing.
lived, I know, she lived through a lot. My accent, Persian accent, and all of that. So she, I don't have to even say anything. She knows, she knows what's in my rotten head all the time. So you know, so yeah, it was really tough, and then slowly, but the biggest change was that as a family we stuck together. We were together, and anytime I felt down or disappointed or discouraged, she was the one who brought me back and keep telling me that, hey, just let me know if you want to quit. Let me know so I know where I stand, because I'm with you all the way. And that's just lift me up. Isabella was, I mean, it's our only child. So we persevered, and we moved to St. Simon's Island in 2015. Nicer, warmer environment. I think I have ridden of the starter that I have.
Yeah. I can't. I barely notice it, if at all. So
yeah.
it's
So it was also, I think it was 2015 or 16 that we were in touch, and he said, "Hey, do you want to come back and start trading again?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know if I would be able to," but I talked to April and said, "Well, give it a shot. You got nothing to do all day, so see what happened." And I started it on 2015 again, after for 5 years. I think 5 years of not doing anything with the FX market, not knowing what it's really going on. But slowly, then you had Forex analytics. You told me that you were about to launch it, and you made me part of it. And slowly but surely, I was able to get back in trading, learning, being in the chat room, listening. I had a hard time being in front of laptop or screen for a while. So, but everything is going well, and I do my trades. I spend maybe 4 or 5 hours in the morning being in front of the computer, chatting with you guys, and making few trades here and there. And I'm hoping April wants to go to France next year, and she said she's gonna go either with me or without me. So I'm gonna, yeah. So I still have a problem with flying. I can't fly. Anytime last time I got onto airplane, I get my seizure back, and I really don't feel well.
really.
So yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it because of the pressure, or
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, it is because of I think it's because of the pressure. And then it's in Europe, it's much harder on a wheelchair
Yeah.
to get around. So we invested in a brace that it was specifically made for me, and I got one of these standing walkers that I could use my elbow instead of bending down. That I can hold myself up. So I'm training. So hopefully by next year this time, I join you on a webinar in Paris.
In France, that would be
Yeah,
awesome.
man, that would be great, wasn't it? Yeah. So that's how it is. But besides all of that, it was a tough road ahead of us. And anybody that I meet that having issues, health issues, or people that we even in the chat room that struggling with anything, it just keep positive thinking. Being pessimistic wouldn't take you anywhere. Always be optimistic, think positive. Um, um, you know, I thought I was pretty invincible, and I had a great life, and nothing was. I mean, for what I went through from uh, coming from Iran, like 34 years ago, and what I went through and get here, I thought this is it. I mean, I love living in the United States, but that's what I thought, and look what happened. The only thing kept me together, it was my family, and having a positive attitude. And that positive attitude that you have, it brings every good things back to you and to your life. Even in your trades, whatever you do, in your trading life. And anytime anytime I feel really good about myself, there is twice a year, on March and on October. I never forget those days. That every year I have a two reminder, uh, that how precious life is,
Yeah.
and how much we really should appreciate each other and friendship, and what we have. So
You know, Amir, it's to me probably one of the most amazing stories, because I, I I I try to explain to people about, like, well, you know, you can imagine that you have to think about, like, in your point of view, like, wait, first of all, you're stabbed and left for dead, multiple, you know, assailants and home invasion, and you survive that, and then you're shot 6 months later in a parking garage. You fell down the stairs after you were shot in the back, left for dead there. Some woman found you in the, and this is via the Baltimore Sun, you know, in the parking garage, and a completely separate incident. And it's like, yet you persevered, you survived, I mean, your stuttering it was bad. You were in a wheelchair at the time.
I still am.
And you still are, but
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the other photo, and which I didn't keep, of you in bed when you were looked, you know, at your, probably, I think you've shared the picture with us before, at your worst.
Yeah.
And you know, between your wife and your daughter and yourself, you survived, and look at you now, you know, this almost 10 years later. Yes, you're still in a wheelchair. Yes, you had to stand on one leg to put up some Christmas lights. Yeah, you probably can only trade a few hours a day, but you were on the verge of death multiple times, and here you are. And it's such an amazing story, and it's such an amazing story to see you come back. And this is because I've known Amir before the story, and I've known Amir up until present day, and I'm fortunate enough to know him and his family. So if you ever look around and you go, man, what a tough year, it's tough 2020, or I'm having a tough time, I think you have to look at, like, what Amir's gone through, him and his family's gone through, and just think, geez, you know, boy, if he can do it, I can do it too. And it's just an amazing comeback, Amir, and it's so great to see you in the chat room. And Amir is a just I'm gonna classify you as a trader, and then you can tell the viewers kind of how you see yourself as a trader. As you know, Amir looks for, you know, overbought, oversold stuff, but he's very methodical about it. He's one of those, like, you know, the Euro's trading, I'm just going to use this as an example, the Euro's trading at 121.70 or 60, he'll be like, okay, I'm going to sell some Euro here, and then, you know, we'll see him the next day. He's like, all right, I'm covering the euro and it's 50 pips lower, and that's the kind of, let me put it this way. When Amir is out there in the markets and he goes, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I stop and I go, I wonder what he's doing, what he's thinking here. Why is he fading the move? Is it over? So Amir, how would you classify yourself as a trader?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of, I guess since I have been in pain so much, I think I enjoy being in pain, counter trending. Most of my trades are counter trends. I rely a lot on support and resistance, and I also the style I trade is I stack my trade. I just don't go in with one large position. So if you have noticed that if there is a certain level, for instance, if I see euro is going to hit 120, 150, I stack my orders. I start from 45. I don't want to lose any of it. 50, and I'll go above it, because we all know that once we hit those levels that we're looking for, there's always a trap after that they're gonna take people out and go a little bit higher and trap you into buy more, and then all of a sudden reverses. So I stack my trade, and I start with a smaller position, and once I get to the area that I want it to be, it's a bigger position that I take. It's not always successful like everybody else. I have my gain and I have my my losses, but I stick to my plan, and whatever my plan is, I try to execute it, and I know when it's time for me to get out or stick around. I still do a lot of I still do a lot of scalping. I scalp the market a lot, but I don't post it. It's just like 5-10 pips here and there, but it is. And then the market right now, it's so difficult with this roller coaster that we're going through. I tend, if you have noticed in the past month, I tend not to be in front of the monitors a lot. I set my orders, or if I'm in, I just walk away, because once you get your emotion involved, that's when you make a wrong decision, and a costly decision. So
can I interject a question, Blake?
Absolutely.
Amir? Nice to meet you, Amir.
Hi, Coach.
Hey, how are you, buddy? So listen,
good.
You with everything you went through, and you talk about staying positive, and I'm sure you had your times where you were probably pretty depressed about your new normal. Can you give me and everyone listening an example of your self-talk that keeps you positive, and the things that you tell yourself? And could it be that it's as simple as just being grateful for what you still have, instead of, because I've been through a thing too, and I don't have the same body, and but being grateful for what you have instead of focusing on what you don't anymore?
Yeah, one thing that I failed to mention, I suffered from a severe PTSD. I was an emotional wreck, and I put a lot of hours in therapy. But from the day that I really knew myself, I always had that positive attitude. I never look at anything in a negative way. Look, right now there is no such thing as, for a lot of people, well, I'm sure it is, but for me there is no such thing as oh, it's Monday, or thank God it's Friday. I enjoy every day when I wake up April is a great witness of that. That anytime I'm up, I'm happy to be up, and I'm in a great mood. One of the things that I always do. You're talking about talking about when you're down, what you do that makes you feel better. I'm sure. I mean, April is listening. She knows what I'm talking about. This is what I say to myself. I said, think about flowers and think about birds singing, and I repeat that to myself a bunch of times. I have done that since I was 20 years old. I swear. And even if Isabella's down, if April is down, this is my thing that I do. I says, just think about flowers, how beautiful they are, and listen to the birds singing. See how beautiful that is. And really,
Wow.
that's all we do. And then the experience that I went through, like a lot of people went through, but as I said, twice a year, I get I get a warning that enjoy your moment, because life is precious. I mean, Coach, look at the market. I mean, you think you're in a wrong side of the trade. You wait 2 days, and you see yourself sitting in a green. So plan whatever you want to plan, and execute it in life, in trading, and that would, I mean, I think it would help you a lot. I don't sweat over trades anymore. I really don't. And when you're in our chat room, there are a lot of great guys. I mean, from Amanda, who's such a, I mean, you think about someone who inspire you. Look at the way she trades. I could never see myself in doing it, and lots of other people that I get to know. And
what a great mantra: flowers and birds.
Isn't
I'm gonna remember that one next time I need it. It really is. That's beautiful, man.
Instead of screaming Serenity Now, you go.
Who did that? Serenity Now.
That was George's father on Seinfeld.
Oh,
Serenity Now.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Amir.
You know, Dale and Amir, I know both of you gentlemen actually have been through. You've been to hell and back, and I look, and Dale, whether I tell you or not, it's one of the things I really admire about you is your positive attitude. Now get back to work. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm joking. No, but and same with Amir. I mean, and he said something that really hit home with me. He goes, "Thank God it's Friday. It doesn't exist in my world." And that, you know, as most of us, we go, "Oh wow, thank God it's at the end of the week." But really, it's like it is truly you're blessed to wake up every day, and I that's my big takeaway today.
Great tonic for the community, Blake. Thank you, Amir.
Amir, I'm going to read you just a couple of comments from folks. You know, Rick, who's Dean in Oklahoma, who's been with our community for probably 8-10 years, maybe. He goes, great to hear you again, Amir. Not been in chat lately, but super to hear how well you're doing, Rick. And that's Dean in Oklahoma, which he comes in and out. He's always working. So like everyone, he'll pop in like once a month and, you know, chit chat, and you may see him. Forex Gal asks, how did you get started in the FX?
Oh, it was all you. It was, I'm telling you, it was, it was, I remember it was a late night. I was watching TV and the infomercial came and you're in it talking about Forex. And next thing I know, I booked the next, and it was in Baltimore, actually. I used to live about 50 miles away from Baltimore. I mean, it was in the quietest little, in a valley, in a quiet place, maybe a population of 11,000. That's and then I went to Baltimore and I joined. You know, that's how I started it.
And and it's been history ever since. But I wanted to ask, and I want to make sure I've got this correct. You had was it a used car business
Yeah,
beforehand?
I had a
Yeah, you
car
had two.
dealership,
Yeah,
and we hit that 2008 disaster,
yeah.
and our business was almost destroyed. So, but this was a great thing to have to fall back on, trading
Yeah.
in FX market. Yeah, that's all started, and then once you started, you could never put it down. It's
Well,
you know.
Monica says, beautiful, wise words. Thank you. Igmar says, what a moving story. Jerry says, amazing story. Thanks for sharing, Amir. Richard says, Amir's experience and that of many others prove easily availability of guns, and tolerating people carrying knives in these times is no good. In the UK, police search people for knives, and people carry guns except police is unthinkable. Better off in France or in Europe. So, we everybody's got their thoughts about gun control, and I'll tell you though, you talk to Steve or Stelios, and they'll say, that never would have happened here, which, and I'm a gun owner, so just so you guys all know,
Yeah,
and ex-military, so it's,
yeah. It just never say never. I mean, it's
yeah, true.
you know,
That's
uh,
true. Yeah.
when it comes,
And
it
what happened to you
comes.
never would have happened, right?
Yeah, twice. I mean, can you believe that? I mean,
No,
yeah, you think I was a
no.
drug lord or something,
It's
or
crazy.
I was a spy. It's yeah, it was crazy. But let me tell you something. I mean, what you guys have put together, what you had when I started uh, trading in Forex market, without you guys in regard to trading and life and a family, I wouldn't be here right now, because it give you a sense of comfort that you're not alone. Everybody's make pips, everybody lose pips, but we use each other's idea, even if you don't have to follow everyone's trade. But it's like an alarm in your head that it makes you think twice of the trade that you're planning to take, to wait on it or execute it or not execute it. But it's just it's if you haven't experienced uh, such a such a jewel in your life, just come and join. I'm not getting paid from you, but it's just the greatest experience that you could have trading FX. It's where we are is not always all about trading. I goof around a lot, probably get on people's nerves here and there, but hey, it is what it is. We all
Amir,
could use laughters.
you don't, and I just want to say, there's so many comments about how you just inspire. And George says, God bless you and your family. Great attitude and demonstration of triumph of the human spirit.
Yeah.
Richard says, Amir is an extremely lucky. He is in another American homicide statistic. That is true. NG said you do scale in, and so yes, he does scale in when he gets into trades. That's correct. Piero says, Amir, you inspire. And Raj, and who's in our chat room, says, you are a true phoenix. And yes, you are.
Wow.
Rick says, by the way, that's the same way I got involved. Wise Trade commercial in 2003 or 2002. Hugo says, Amir, to use coach's words, you are our trading warrior brother. Wow, what a story. Thanks for sharing. Joe says, telling people you are a spy is awesome. That's Joe in our chat. Joe Perry, just so you guys know. Jack, also in our chat room, says, Amir, you're a true inspiration, dude, and bloody well done. Really admire you for everything. Almost feels like I know you. And Jack's in our chat room. He's been chatting this morning, and he used to be in South Africa. Now he's in Netherlands. He says, best Best there, mate. Keep on enjoying life the way you do. I think you've reminded us all today of some things we need to remind ourselves of from time to time. And Richard says, thank you for bringing him on and all the best to him. And Stelios, you can read here, it says, you're such a great guy and inspiration. I think when my book is out, I'll need to give Coach an interview too. My story is obviously not like yours, but I went through some crazy stuff as well. And then you can see there are other comments. Steph says, thanks for answering my barrage of questions. Just, this is our chat, the Forex analytics chat that I was just showing you guys, but really it's, we do have quite a big family there. And that's one thing, Amir, that you said, that is pretty important, I think, for people to hear. There are people that come and go all the time. Like Jack, who was in our chat room today, he hasn't been in for probably 2 months. I had, there was another lady, I can't think of her name right off the top of my head. She wrote in, she's like, listen guys, my kids are at home. It's really messing up my trading. I'm going to try to, get back in around, the beginning of the year. You guys have been great. And, we wrote her, well, a bunch of us wrote her back, and I remember writing her saying, hey, good luck. I get it. Life does get in the way. We'll be back. We'll be here when you come back. And people come back, and they come back and they're like, okay, I got my craps, straightened out, and here I am back at it. And it's quite a family, isn't it, Amir?
Yeah, it is. I mean, look at it. I mean, okay, you say I'm a Phoenix, but in my opinion, is April is my true Phoenix, because without my partner, I would never be where I am right now. And when it comes to trading, this chat room and what you have, it's my partner, partner in life, in trading life. And without it, the chance of me messing up, it would be a hell of a lot more than what I do right now. So you always need a partner in your life, and I'm blessed that I have one next to me every day, and through the World Wide Web, I have partnering with lots of great people in our community.
Yeah, well, we are truly blessed to have you here, because you are an inspiration to us all, Amir. And I'm going to wrap it up by saying, it's so nice to hear your voice. I was not joking last year when I said I really want to come visit you in April in Georgia, and that's unfortunately a pandemic got in the way. But I'm actually going to take my kids on a road trip probably this next year, and one of the first places we're going to go to is to visit you guys, and
come on down,
take you out
anytime
to lunch and share a whiskey with you. So
fantastic. Hey, look at Euro and look at Looney. Oh my God, we talked.
Yeah, the Looney is actually breaking out here.
Yeah, I mean, I have talking about the stacking up. I stacked up. I've been stacking up on Looney long for a while right now. I'm sitting at 127.74, and it looks like it's starting to flower for me a little bit, and I'm short.
And the birds will be singing soon too.
Damn, he's going to be singing outside with my cigar and my single malt, sitting outside and enjoying it. I know. So yeah, stick to your plan. I mean, even we talked about it. Stick to your plan, Ice, and that's what I have. I'm in green, and I was telling myself, Blake, that this Looney is going to be a disastrous trade of 2020 for me, or is going to be a fantastic, the biggest of greatest of all trades of 2021, and I hope it gets that way. So.
Well, Amir, I want to say thank you so much for being here today. This won't be the last time. I'll have you on again, because it's just great to give people a reminder of how important life is. It's not just about trading. It's not just about making money. Life is extremely valuable, and it can, things can turn quickly, and you never know. And so you have to appreciate every day, right? So is there any last parting words you'd like to give the trading group regarding like trading or life or anything?
No, I mean, honestly, you all know where I stand, and my motto is that just enjoy your life. Uh, uh, don't make things complicated, and enjoy your life, enjoy your family. And I know trading, as I mentioned, it's hard sometimes, but it's all up to you, and it's all in your head, that how you treat every situation, and that it comes to you. Just treat it in a simplest way and a most positive way. And hey, I'm not the only one has gone through a hard time. I'm sure everybody's situation, it's different, and everybody thinks that they have suffered in life in many ways or shape. But it's all about not when you go through it. It's all about how you come out of it. So stay positive, my friend. Birds and flowers.
Damn straight.
Birds and flowers.
flowers.
I have
Birds
a
Birds
I have
and
a
flowers.
tagline suggestion for this interview, Blake. The
Birds
power
and flowers.
and beauty of community.
That's right. And for Mustafa, he said, unfortunately I was late. Hey, don't worry, we're gonna post this out on YouTube so you guys can listen to it if you missed it or you came in a little bit late. Amir, my friend, happy holidays to you, your wife. Is Isabella gonna come back with you?
Yeah, Isabella's here, and she
Oh,
goes to UGA on January 6th.
awesome. Well, give
So
her a hug from our whole community, and especially my wife and I, and same with April. And
yeah,
Amir, thank you so much for your time today.
yeah. Same
I'm
thing
sure
to you,
you inspired.
Lisa, and kids. And I'm expecting a song from Coach about birds and flowers. Hopefully next.
Coach, you got something to
session.
work on for the weekend.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll compose something for you, buddy.
Happy
All
holiday,
right.
happy Hanukkah, Coach,
Thank you.
and Merry Christmas to everybody.
You're a great example of the first candle. So thank you so much, Amir. Blake, this was a great idea. I don't know about everyone else. I needed this. So
Yeah, well, I
thank
think
you,
we all
Amir.
did. And
Thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
thanks, Amir. All right, guys. Well,
Take care.
Dale, I needed it too, because sometimes you get so wound up when in your trades and you're like, man, what a crappy day. You know what? Every day is a good day. And I take that away of, there's no TGIF. Every day is a good day. So thanks,
So
Amir,
it's
for
easy
that.
to say, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Tougher to live it. And we just saw an example. He's an everyday reminder of that.
Yeah, true.
Thank you, Amir.
Thanks, Amir. All right, Dale, thank you so much for a great week. As
You
always,
too, Blake.
you rock it out, and we're all lucky to have you. So I'm going to bow out, and guys, I'll see you on the week ahead video this weekend.
Have a good weekend, everyone. Adios.